Hello and welcome. I'm Domina Della Pie, Mistress Sasha Storm. Today I have some questions. He says, hey, I have a few questions for you. I've been studying the BDSM lifestyle for about 2 years, and it's very interesting. Many Black people are becoming a part of the BDSM community, but they are hard to find. A quick answer Google search of ebony bondage, ebony BDSM reveals usually white people degrading Black people. I'm more interested in the mental aspect of BDSM. It's deeper than sex and power to me. It's helping certain women to be free and vulnerable in my presence without being judgmental. I have a dominant personality and I like my position as a leader. I've had multiple powerful women submit to me in the bedroom, and it's beautiful to see a woman bow down to a man. In America, Black men have very little power. Many, not all of our women are so independent, and honestly, sometimes I think men are going out of style. If a man is not a model or very tall or rich, his chance of success with women is difficult. But there's a group of women who seek submission, who seek to be led and dominated. My question is, how does a man become a male dom? And once he becomes a male dom, where does he seek his specific woman? I've been with an aggressive, loud, masculine woman, and it was a complete turnoff. I don't want my woman weak, but I do seek a soft, submissive woman who understands her place in my life. Any advice would be great. Well, so he's a dominant personality, Black male, and he seeks a very submissive, feminine Black woman. He mentioned that so many women are independent. It seems as though that is societally just a construct, so that when women are dependent on men, men feel dominant. But a man should be able to feel dominant whether or not the woman is submissive. The reason I'm saying this is there are women who appear to be dominant, domineering, dominating tops. That is their persona, their personality, and they've had to cultivate that out of a sheer necessity, because if they don't do that, they will be crushed. Because there are many males, not men, many males out there don't have a sense of themselves. They don't know who they are, and they have not tapped into their manhood. So they are basically operating as bitches, you know. They see women in their power, in our power, and they envious, they're jealous of us. And from that jealousy is born a hatred and a resentment. So what they're doing now is, that's why you say you don't see much of manhood. The reason is many of these guys masquerading and having multiple women, they are actually submissive, but they pretend to be dominant to women who are weaker. And instead of nurturing the connection, they view the women as disposable. You run through them, they are of no value, they're of no value whatsoever except to fuck or to get money from them, to suck up their energy and time, waste their time essentially. Women are looking to bond and connect with stable, secure men in loving relationships, in loving unions. But you have your culture, like your rap, hip hop, and your stars, your Hollywood stars, you look up to, you idolize, you glamorize, and they are often not to our benefit, because behind the scenes, their lives are like complete debauchery, and they're not really good role models for our children and youth who are exposed to that and thinking that, oh, well, this star and this celebrity is doing this, so why not I? It's one thing to explore sexuality. I mean, I've been down the block a few times, and to the point where I've reached a stage in my life where I know exactly what I want, which means I know exactly what I don't want. Unfortunately, many males, and especially young ones, young guys, they just flock to me. They pursue me. They start off very respectful and meek and mild and soft-spoken. They're presenting a false persona of themselves. They are acting. They're pretending to be good, decent human beings, but they're not, because we will be communicating for some time. And as soon as they don't get what they want from me, they turn into monsters. They turn into demons. They get very venomous in their words. They say such nasty, degrading things to me. And it's like the mask has dropped. The mask has slipped from their face. Their mask has fallen, and they are revealed to be exactly what they are. Unworthy of my time, energy, effort, even money, because they always, many of them, look at me, right? I don't need to have young guys coming to me begging for money, crying the blues. That's not a man. So many women are having children, male children, and often in the absence of a man. There's no father figure around to teach the boy to be a man. The black woman is blamed for all the ills of society, and especially the failings of the black male. And I think it's unfair, it's not balanced to only put everything on the woman. Now, if you consider yourself to be dominant and you think that you're worthy, as a dom, if you're male or female, you need to be knowledgeable on this subject. You have to learn about anatomy, because BDSM involves, many people think it's about beatings, whippings. And so some doms, male and female, they are quick to pull out implements such as whips, paddles, canes, straps, wooden spoons, whatever, and they are ready to apply this like corporal punishment. As some of us were disciplined in Catholic school by nuns, it was abusive then. And sometimes the dominant partner is striking or doing a scene in anger. You must get into the headspace of play, role play. You must initiate your submissive into this as a play, until you become more familiar. It is safest to start as role play, and you're having sessions. Maybe you can start with an hour, 2 hours, and you can build it up, graduate to more and more time. But it's best to, the number one request that is most advantageous and important, it's vital that you establish a safe word, so that during your interaction, your role play, it is important that if the submissive is not interested, is not aroused by, it just doesn't want whatever action that you are practicing on him or her, it is up to him or her to say the safe word. So let's say your safe word is, let's make it easy, red. And you're whipping someone, and the person says red. It must stop. You must stop it. Some dominant partners will disregard the safe word and continue to whip you. I've been in situations where I was shouting my safe words, and these were people who are supposed to know better, but they didn't do better, so they kept on. They were essentially raping me, and I didn't sign up for that. They had restrained me. I don't ever consent to being restrained, and they knew it. So the ringleader, who is well versed in these dominant arts. She, who's now a he, she was a dyke, now is a trans man. But he was leading the pack of rabid queer people who decided it was a good idea to basically rape me that day. I did not consent to anything they did to me, and I was restrained. This is very dangerous, and people can end up being charged. That's a serious charge. I was so traumatized by that event that it didn't even occur to me to go and report them to the police. But because my way is always to speak about things that happen to me that adversely affect my life, I talk about it. And I talked about it to a community that did nothing. They did absolutely nothing, so that perpetrators in their midst keep getting off scot-free with these infractions that are very serious. Okay, that was an assault of me that day, and there were 4 of them and only me. So women need to have a safe word when in, and no matter who they are playing with, because there are people who are men who pretend to be women, right? They claim to be women, insisting to be called women, and they're men. And men think differently from women. We are not the same, and we operate differently as well. So being a dominant man and wanting submission, you must be worthy of submission. And one of the things is to become educated, to become knowledgeable, to read about this subject, BDSM, to learn the terms. There's terms that are used, like body worship, cock and ball torture, CBT, nipple torture. And you must learn anatomy so that if you're striking someone, that you're not going to harm them by hitting them someplace that is not really a good place to hit without hurting them in some way. You could cause bodily harm. You don't want to do that. And you also must ensure that the person you're engaging in this play is truly submissive and wants to submit to you. There are some people, like men, many men would come to me as a domina, pretend that they want me to dominate them. But what they want to do is to flip the script, to turn things around on you. They are dominant men, but they're playing games. So in my dungeon or in my playroom, they would come and try to turn the tables, and that would not work. As long as I can see what you're about, and many of them are called unruly bottoms, or they say it's topping from the bottom. So they come pretending that they want you to dominate them, but they really want to dominate you, and that's not going to work. It must be by consent, and hence the safe word. You are agreeing to get involved in this activity with someone or some other people, more than one. But there must be the safe word established. And when you use the safe word, it must be respected. You must be respected as an individual, as a person. And you say your safe word, you must not have to repeat your safe word. Once you say the safe word, the so-called top, the dominant partner, must heed and stop whatever action is occurring that caused you to use the safe word, because that's our safety and security, which is very important. Some people really love to be heavily beaten, whipped, even almost taken to the brink of death. I've had many men come and ask me to make them a eunuch. They want to have me surgically remove their penis. I know that is a mental illness in them, because I'm not a surgeon. I'm not some kind of doctor. I'm not any kind of doctor. So why would you expect me to cut your dick off? That I know tells me that you're nuts. So I would not engage any of these people who would come to me. I would on the telephone tell them, no, I don't do that. I would send them to Mexico or somewhere I know that they're doing these kinds of procedures. Don't call a domina if you want your dick chopped off. However, if you want it, mutilated, Even that for me, like I'm a soft dominant. I'm not a man hater. Many of the dominant women tend to be man haters, and many of the dominant men hate women. That's why I urge you to be certain that you're not getting involved in this out of any kind of resentment or animosity towards the other gender. It must be born out of your awareness of yourself as a dominant personality. And you must also question why it is so important. Like you said, you like to see a woman submit. Well, people submit to me all the time, men, women, young, old. It's just I am commanding that side of you just based on my, how shall we say, based on my proximity to you. If I'm close in your presence, you can tell there's an aura, it's an energy I exude, and it's dominant. And I especially exhibit that when I'm in the company of certain people who need to be subdued, who need to be submissive, because some people can be very rude and obnoxious, and I don't sign up for that. I don't tend to be in the company of obnoxious people. So I assert my dominance very, very early, and it's no mistaking who and what I am. And if people cannot respect that, and then I will remove myself from that equation. I won't be a part of their circle. You must read about psychology. You must also learn about people from different parts of the world. You can see some cultures, the women are submissive, and some cultures, the men are submissive. So you must understand who and what you're dealing with. And some people are submissive because they've been downtrodden their entire lives. They don't really want to be submissive, but it's been beaten into them. You see, for in my case, I was very shy, very bashful, very gentle, and I may have appeared submissive, but I wasn't. I was just very meek and mild. And as a result of that, people took it upon themselves to be abusive to me. They thought because I didn't appear tough and rough that they could take advantage and abusive. So I had to flex. I had to turn it around and be true to myself. I am a dominant personality, which is why I could show the soft side of myself. You see, many people are showing dominant side of themselves when deep down they are actually very soft. It's kind of like a mind fuck. And that's another thing in BDSM. You must learn about mind fucking, how to let someone think they're receiving something and they're not, or appearing to give something to someone and they're not receiving it. It's what they call a mind fuck. Anyway, if you have specific questions, I can answer. This was just a whole bunch of questions, and so that's why I answered in the manner in which I did. But there are websites for those who are interested in BDSM. Unfortunately, many of the so-called DOMs and tops are posturing, and they are not really true DOMs. They are actors on a power trip, and you have to be mindful of those because they can hurt you psychologically, they can hurt you spiritually, physically, mentally, and you don't want that. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. I am Domina Della Pie, Mistress Ashes Storm. Good day.